All right, welcome. Sports Injury Central, Pro Football Dog Podcast, makeshift studios on Radio Row. We got a nice corner spot here. Radio Row is pretty busy. Slowing down a little bit this afternoon, but still bustling quite a bit here. Behind us, who's throwing behind us? Is it Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs? That's who is next. I don't know if that's who's next on the bounty set next to us. Pat McAfee set's right there, and the Sirius set, and Fox, and everyone right here. DraftKings right over behind us. So give you the whole big. I mean, this is the room. It's lots of people here. Been here a few days. Let's go over the podcast things here, topics here, and have some fun here. Let's go over some things here. Taylor's here. He's finally gotten out of his shy bubble. Now he's talking to everybody. Before he was like, "Oh, that's so and so, and that's so and so," but he wouldn't. Now Max Crosby thinks he's stalking him. He's run into him 3 times already. So there's going to be a restraining order coming on Taylor soon here. All right, let's get into some of the topics today of the podcast. So since it is Super Bowl and whatever, believe it or not, I did get firm confirmation that I've been talking about Taylor Swift being able to make it back from Japan because of the time change. But I actually got firm confirmation from somebody, I won't say who, that Taylor Swift is indeed flying in for the Super Bowl. I don't think anyone's surprised here. But anyway, so let's chat a little about Super Bowl injuries. We'll talk about field turf, medical differences. We'll talk about Brock Purdy a little bit as well, and some of the crossover things. So last year here at the Super Bowl, one of the big takes that we had was that Brock Purdy, no guarantee that he would be ready for the start of the season. Now, he was. And the reason why is it was a Tommy John surgery, but it was a repair, not a reconstruction. And had a chance earlier this week to talk with Donovan McNabb, and he agreed that the throwing motion for pitchers is way different than for a quarterback. I asked Donovan, what percentage of your throws are max velocity throws in a game? Let's say you make 40 throws. Tight window, max velocity, hum it in there. He said 4 or 5%. Actually, he was saying for Brock Purdy 4 or 5% because he's very much a timing thrower. Him maybe a tiny bit higher. But like if you're making a lot of high velocity, tight window throws, you get a lot of picks. And he agreed. Whereas pitching, almost all your pitches are near max velocity. Near. Okay, you throw a changeup, but it's still, a high percentage. So you get attenuation Tommy John injuries. Brock Purdy was an avulsion acute and a repair, which heals more quickly. But I feel vindicated because I thought the 49er guys were going to give me shit this year at the Super Bowl for saying that there's no guarantee he'll be ready. Now, he was ready, which is good. But obviously, you hear now about all the reach out to Tom Brady in the offseason as a backup plan, etc. So that all kind of makes a little bit of sense here. Let's go over Super Bowl injuries a little bit here. Chiefs versus 49ers. Look, survival of the fittest. As the pyramid narrows it down, the healthier teams prevail. That's why we're able in the wild card round saying, go against the Dolphins, go against the Browns, go against the Eagles. Well, they all lost, so you can't go against them again. The Bills were injured. That's why they won there. Okay, and now it's relatively healthy teams, but the 49ers are slightly healthier. No worries about Christian McCaffrey. No worries about Deebo Samuel, obviously. I mean, we thought he would play. Not even on the injury report, but Deebo Samuel the week before the conference championship, we were confident he would play. We probably gave him a 6 score that was too low of like 86. We should have given him a 6 score of 125 with his production. So he should be good. He's good. CMC, neck, shoulder, calf, all good. No worries for Christian McCaffrey. Damar Hamlin's behind us here. Hello, Damar Hamlin. Anyways, who won comeback player of the year? Is that tonight?
That's tonight. That's likely why he's here.
So you're saying he won because he's here. Well, it's either him or Joe Flacco, right? I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. He did get a sack this year.
Yes, 2 tackle assists. That's enough.
And a carry.
Yes.
But we won't talk about that for Buffalo fans. We will talk about that for Buffalo fans. Anyways, and it's the real DeMar Hamlin, not the fake one, right? All right, just kidding. We're not going to bug him. We'll let him go. Let's see. Niners injury report. Dre Greenlaw not worried off the injury report. Who else are we really worried about? Oh, George Kittle, the toe. What we don't see is sometimes is more as important as what we do see. We don't see a lot on George Kittle in his toe. So not worried about George Kittle in his toe. I think he'll be fine. It'll be much like Deebo Samuel in the previous. Let's start on the Chiefs. Done with the 49ers. The Chiefs, non-Taylor Swift news. Joe Thuney, unlikely to play. We've said all along, and now Andy Reid agrees with us. Pec strain. If you can't do a push-up or a bench press, how are you going to protect the A gap? It's his right pec on a left guard. Not going to happen. Andy Reid says he's worried about the strength, and that's an issue. And I don't see him playing, and that's probably not going to be the case. Isaiah Pacheco, I think will be fine. Toe, ankle. Jerick McKinnon, do not believe that he will play. This is a little too tight of a timeline to recover from core muscle surgery, especially if you're a quick cut speed guy. So there's still Clyde Edwards-Helaire will still have play in this game.
They list him as LP. That doesn't mean anything, right?
LP, look, they opened up his practice window. So people here on Radio Row said, well, they opened up his practice window. Why would they do that if they're not going to play him in the Super Bowl? Because why not? If you don't open up the practice window, he can only practice on the side field on his own. Now he can practice with the team, but that does not mean he's 100%. An LP definition is either 99% of the plays or 1% of the plays. I think it's closer to 1%. Do not see him playing there. Do not see Jerick McKinnon playing. Who else do we got?
We had Skyy Moore. He was activated. He FP'd in his first practice with the knee.
Skyy Moore's knee is probably okay. It's sort of a roster decision and utilization decision on Skyy Moore. We think Tony is just – we never saw a hip injury. Tony says he doesn't really have a hip injury. I think Tony's just fallen out of favor is what it is. And the Chiefs, if anything, were doing him a favor by listing him with a hip injury before to give him the excuse to be out.
And the former Niner and Chief a minute ago. That's the roster change.
D-line is the big one for the Chiefs. Charles Omenihu, despite saying he would play, because good, why not be optimistic? Now confirmed with an ACL tear, which is what we had. What we had was in-game was an ACL tear. That's been confirmed, and he's now out. Exactly. Nandi is not good. Nadi is not going to play with his triceps. So it's some depth issues on D-line for the Chiefs. Willie Gay off the report. Willie Gay's neck is fine, like we thought. He and Dre Greenlaw for the Chiefs and the 49ers, the two key linebackers, are both going to play. So thankfully, the injury report is relatively thin. Are we forgetting anybody here?
Nope, that's it.
Slight advantage to the 49ers, but quite honestly, I think advantage to both offenses over both defenses. The 49ers still don't have Hufanga. Maybe a high-scoring game here. We'll see what happens. We're going to put out some more stuff in terms of the picks and props, in terms of what's happening here. The controversies this week. The field turf, the grass. What are the controversies? Last year's Super Bowl surface was slick. They blamed the humidity when they rolled it in. They weren't prepared for that. This year, they're doing everything they can with the Allegiant Field grass. But there was controversy. Why? Because the 49er practice field was said to be soft and spongy. They just laid the turf onto the artificial surface, the grass on the artificial surface, without an underneath layer. It was softer than it should be, spongier, stickier, potentially more fraught with injuries, and also potentially seams because the grass was just laid 6 weeks ago. Meanwhile, the Players Association is saying, well, wait, what about MetLife? You guys, we don't like MetLife. It's the worst stadium in the league. You got to remember, is anyone surprised there's twice as many injuries there as other stadiums? They play twice as many games because they host the Jets and Giants. But the bottom line is this. MetLife is putting in grass for the FIFA World Cup final. So players are saying, well, what about us? Here's the problem. For the World Cup, you have 150-pound athletes running all over the field. For a football game, you have 325-pound athletes, multiple, chewing up the middle of the field between the numbers. And then you put two teams on it in inclement weather. And for the World Cup, it's one game. You can lay out that field 3 weeks in advance and let the seams grow together and make it perfect. You can't just be installing new fields when you're playing multiple games every week with two different teams. So it's something that the league will have to figure out. I don't know how they redesign a stadium, but it's not just that simple as just go ahead and put in grass and MetLife, etc.
So you don't think they're going to put grass in full time just for the?
There's no possible way, Taylor, that we could do it. How are you going to do it? You're going to not play a game for 3-4 weeks to let the sod get in there? Okay, you do it at the beginning of the season, and then you do like the first game this season, the Giants played in the rain at MetLife, and the next day Aaron Rodgers and the Jets played in the rain. What do you think the grass looks like if you do that? Then you resod it for next week. It's not ready, right? Especially with two teams, it's very difficult. I'm not taking the owner's side. I'm just saying an uneven grass field or a grass field with seams. Remember Wes Welker down in Houston with the pallets tore his ACL on a seam. That's almost worse. So I just don't see an easy solution based on that stadium design, unless you're going to figure out something hybrid, which is what they're talking about. Anyways, turf issues. Super Bowl, unique about the Super Bowl, there is a lot of different stuff where normally you'd say, hey, you strained your hamstring, let's sit, let's not miss 6 weeks and make it worse. For the Super Bowl, you may just roll the dice, right? Hey, look, I got all off season to get better. So a lot of injuries get better in the Super Bowl and the week before. And talked with Donovan McNabb a little bit about T.O. and his injury back in the day, et cetera. A lot ankle fracture where he came back quickly. Some uniqueness. And also remember, there's in other physicians that fly in, there's no home team physician that's the host, because the home team are the Chiefs. They don't have privileges at local hospitals. They don't have access to local pharmacies and medications. So their host physician is a combination of the Raiders physician as well as guys that fly in. And it's a whole elaborate system of medical. You got to remember, 32 billionaire owners are here and their families. And each team probably has more than one billionaire owner nowadays. It's a group of players, of owners. So there's a whole medical team dedicated to just them and their families. Just like there's a medical team dedicated to the Chiefs and their families that come, because you don't want a player worried about his son or daughter or his wife or whatever. And same for the 49ers. So it's a very elaborate medical system set up here. And it's unusual too, right? Because the halftime is so long. You literally could have an offense be sidelined for over an hour. Let's say the defense is on the field, so the offense isn't on the field. Then you have not a 12-minute halftime, but this huge halftime show. And then let's say you kick off and your defense is on the field again. That's easily could be an hour. A lot of players, here's what they do, besides the IV stuff and whatever. Some of them will pretend it's a new game. Take off their uniform, take off everything, cut off all the tape, go take a shower, and start brand new. And treat it like a fresh game. And to each his own. To each his own, whatever they feel comfortable with. All right. Any other questions or anything else here? Radio Row here. We got a lot of radio hits again tomorrow. Usually by Friday, I'm not that popular because all these big names come in. But for some reason this year, we already got a half a dozen interviews for tomorrow. Having fun here. Some more serious stuff, Fox stuff, Outkick stuff. Got to do my boy Lorenzo Neal, San Francisco radio stuff tomorrow. Jim Rome was good. That was a nice hit in front of Bellagio. It was nice of them to turn on the fountains for us. What else? Anything else? Any other questions? All right. Thanks for watching. Follow along. We got to look. Remember, Super Bowl will have coverage. We'll have other things coming up. Check out the website. Basketball. Let's talk Joel Embiid. Lotto meniscus re-tear, not his first one. We told you last week, don't bet on him for MVP anymore. He's not going to play enough games. Now he's having surgery. Lateral meniscus issue, meaning tear, meaning surgery was inevitable. Lateral meniscus flat, meaning for sure surgery now. And then they finally announced it. They say the door is open for him to return. Look, the door is open on my delayed Southwest flight. It may have been an 11:37 flight. And then they said 1 o'clock. That's a check back with me time. They're saying Joel Embiid, 4 weeks. Check back with me.
He's month to month, not day to day.
Yeah, he may not be back for this regular season. He's more likely to miss this entire season because of longevity and issues on his knee than play this regular season. Until Southwest tells me the flight's leaving at 1:23, I'm not buying it. It's just a holding time.
Is that a mental thing for the team, or does he tell the team?
Well, there's some truth to let's see how the surgery goes and the recovery, and it's what his swelling is. And I don't think the Sixers, the team doctor, the surgeon, or Embiid know exactly when he's going to come back. They may be targeting. Look, if things really go well, maybe 6 weeks from now, which would still be the regular season. But anytime there's a bump in the road or more swelling, they're going to delay that. He's a big guy. You got to understand, there's at least 20 pounds of force on your knee for every pound that you carry when you run and jump. That's a lot of weight and force to across his knees, and you can't have him have more arthritis and degeneration. All right, Radio Row podcast here.
Hockey injury. We can talk about that real quick, too.
Oh yeah, hockey. It was a
Tampa Bay Lightning. It's Mikhail Sergachev.
Mikhail Sergachev Lightning. That looks like a high ankle type fracture dislocation. We hope not, but that's headed towards season. He got his left ankle foot trapped and rolled out. Look, kind of like Dak Prescott, kind of like a number of guys, when your knee is facing due north and your toes are facing due west, that's not good. So hopefully, we're just trying to interpret that lower body injury
It
for
was his first game
hockey.
back in 7 games from a lower body, so it could have been anything. But yes.
Yeah. Anyways, all right. Thanks for watching. Gonna head back to Radio Row here, and sorry for the disjointed podcast. And hopefully, you got some good pictures of what Radio Row here is like, and etc. And thanks for watching. Appreciate you. And we're here all off season. Remember, off season is when we get to do our podcast with some features and with some people. AQ Shipley said he'd come on the podcast. Donovan McNabb said he'd come on the podcast. We got some good people coming on the podcast. Met some good people here. Andrew Perloff, Maggie Gray, had never really met with them. Doug Gottlieb, etc. So having some fun here. We'll have some good off-season content here. The U2 show was great last night. I did talk with some of the McAfee guys there. They went to there was an all-star. Look, I bought tickets. My wife came in. It was her birthday last week. This was her birthday present. We went. Let's see. Roger Goodell was at the show. Jason Kelsey was at the show. Chris Rock was at the show and got a shout out from Bono for his birthday and sung him happy birthday. No Kim. Kim thought it was for her. No, just kidding. Just joking. No. And then Pat McAfee, who's always very generous, brought all his guys to the show. And I'm not throwing him under the bus here. I did see where they were. I saw Kelsey and Goodell and Chris Rock. They were facing the stage on the left in one of the suites there. And their suite was empty before the show was over. And I don't blame them. It was a great show, the whole thing. But the McAfee, see, Kim, my wife went there and she goes, wow, all these old people there. That's right. U2's for an older. It's U2. I love U2. I'm older. The McAfee crew. I was talking with AJ Hawk earlier today. How'd you like shows? Oh, it was great. I didn't know. I only know the hit songs, and we left early. I mean, because they had early call times, they got work and whatever. But U2 is not their gig. They're too young. But the show and the Sphere was awesome. Shout out to the McAfee crew. Kelsey stayed to the end. He had a lot of fun. Goodell stayed to the end. Chris. Yeah, all good. Kelsey living his best life.
We have a quick ad. Jalen Brunson, big guard for the New York Knicks at basketball. He had that ankle. We looked at the video and see your thoughts on that.
Jalen Brunson, ankle sprain. He sprained it before, shorter than you think, even though it looks bad. Inversion basketball type sprain. That's what we're moving into next. Basketball, of course, baseball, combine coverage, which is big. tomorrow morning I'm going on Houston radio. Seth Payne thanked me earlier this week saying they were all over for the draft. They were all over Tyree Wilson. They were all over Tyree Wilson, D lineman. And based on what we told them pre-draft last year, they switched to Will Anderson at number 3. Not the team, the Houston radio station's prognosis and who they wanted them to take. And Tyree Wilson for the Las Vegas Raiders didn't do much because of injury from college. And Will Anderson had a pretty good season and helped get them to the playoffs, et cetera. So lots of combine coverage. Once again, people here say I should go to combines. I don't know. I've been to Indy enough. I'm still fighting that urge to go to combines and do media stuff. All right. Thanks for watching and listening back onto Radio Row. I appreciate you guys.